Hey, Dimitri. You are going to kick us off with a demo, I think, of the latest developments in the 5-minute production app.
Hey, Sid. Yeah, that's right. It becomes a tradition. I just do a short demo on each of our call, and yeah, let's start. First of all, let me share my screen, and here we go. Okay, so during our last time, we see that we have EC2 and RDS infrastructure created with Terraform, and we were able to deploy a Rails application, and we also able to have DB initialize and DB migrate. So now that we have database and we have a web server, there is only one thing left, and it's to store your files somewhere. So for that demo, we introduced S3 support, which is also included in free tier for AWS. And I'm gonna use the Rails application that I used on previous demo. It's already have carrier wave support for file storage to save time during the demo. But GitLab CI YAML first, let me introduce it. This is a line that was on the previous demo, which basically includes 5-minute production app template. Line number 3 and number 6 are the commands that we used during previous demo for executing DB setup and DB migrate. Now, this Rails application has also carrier wave config now, which is pretty simple. It says that it's going to use AWS library, and it takes environmental variables for access to it, like AWS access key, secret key, region, and S3 bucket. All those variables will be provided to your application during the 5-minute production app deploy job in pipeline. So those variables will be set, and other than that, there is no extra configuration, nothing you need to do to make your application work.
Cool. So where does the S3 bucket variable come from? Do you set it in the CI variables or someplace else?
So if we go to the deploy template project, which we're currently using for developing 5-minute production app, it says down that we are going to expose some S3 variables to you during CI job. And we got those variables during Terraform apply command. When we create infrastructure and S3 bucket is created, AWS API through Terraform gives us those data. And we are going.
Cool. You just tell Terraform, just get an S3 bucket. I don't care what it's named, and it will come back and it will set that. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah. So for that, like we have those variables were here before. Those variables we provide to the project initially to make all the Terraform jobs working correctly, and we just pass those further to your application back. And those S3 variables we receive during Terraform creating S3 bucket.
Yeah, I think it would be probably pretty nice to kind of say which ones are you set as a user, which ones Terraform sets automatically. Making that distinction clear is probably helpful to the user.
Yes, we'll do. Can someone write down in our agenda the suggestion? Okay, so those variables, you know that you need to set them because it's like number one before you go in anywhere. It's like number one step. So you're familiar with them. Now, you have a Rails project. You set up carrier wave. You create a file where you read those environmental variables, and now you simply rely on 5-minute production app to provide you with those. I have a deployment successful for my Rails project save time for this demo. So let's go to the environment. So if we open environment, I have a Rails sample Rails project that I created and developed while testing all the new feature of 5-minute production up and coming. And I'm going to show you that uploading actually creates a file in S3 bucket. Let's create some record on this website. And let's attach an image to it. And yeah, I just use a sample image that I prepared for this demo. And when I create a record, the image is successfully attached. And if we inspect into it, we can see that it's served from S3 bucket. And this S3 bucket was created by Terraform and is used in application. I can show you, again, for time restrictions during the demo, that over the next and next deploys, those images persist. But you can trust me that those 3 first records were here for quite a few days, and I did around 15 deployments today to this project. So every deploy the web server changes, like the Docker container redeployed, but since the S3 bucket is persistent, you can always have your attachments available. Now, another nice addition is we persist the IP address for environment between deployments. So if I run pipeline over and over and over again, I will get the same IP address for my master deployment, which gives me ability simply to point DNS toward it and get a domain name attached to it. Now, this is addition number 2 is being able to attach domain names. Now, addition number 3 is okay, we are talking about production application, even like a simple one to get things started. But we have database, we have IP address, we have EC2 instance, we have S3 bucket. Now, once you get some use, when you get some load, you probably want to move from free tier to some bigger instances. And for that, we introduced variables that allow you to specify exactly what instance size you want. And I'm going to show that CI YAML get 2 new lines from last demo. It's EC2 instance type and Postgres instance size. And we can actually change those to something bigger, like small, and commit those changes. And while we are waiting for the pipeline to run, this change will increase the instance size for EC2 and for RDS used for your deployment. So once the pipeline is finished, you have basically a bigger instance, and then if you need to handle more load, you can go with large instance size.
And will it shut down the previous instance?
So yes, it will apply immediately. It will shut down the smaller one and get the bigger one, but you get your data. So increasing and decreasing the instance size won't destroy your records. Let me find something. Older. Yes, so here I had a pipeline that increased instance size from micro to small, and it does modifying of instances. So it's not destroying it, but modifying, which means like that if you have data in your RDS instance, after modifying, you still have them. And then on the same application, I did downgrade too. So I went from micro to small, and then I went from small to micro again by reverting the commit, and it went modifying down. Now, here comes another nice thing that we didn't do but come out naturally, is that let's say you do some changes and then you want to revert them, you simply revert the commit and the next pipeline just redeploy over your previous changes. So moving forward and backward is as simple as creating Git commits. Now the pipeline is still running, so you should take my word that it will actually increase the instance size of in AWS console. Another thing that we changed lately is because it's production, we removed the destroy job, the Terraform destroy from protected branches. So if you push your code to the master, you don't have a destructive action in your pipeline, so no one accidentally runs a pipeline and and destroys a production instance. Well, we keep it on the feature branches. So if you look at the pipeline on the feature branch, it has Terraform destroy, which will automatically run once you merge the branch. So normal branches, you merge them, they run Terraform destroy, they destroy all the infrastructure created for the regular branches, but protected branches doesn't have a destroy action. However, you can add one simply by running a new pipeline with special environment flag in case you mess up with environment and you really want to delay your infrastructure on master branch. Okay, this this pipeline is almost ready, and I suggest we spend a few more minutes, see if it can modify it in time. In the meantime, I'm ready to answer your questions if you have one.
I had a question, Easy. When we do the scale up and down operations, does that cause downtime?
It depends what strategy you use. So for current development process, we use apply immediately flag in AWS because we can't wait for for AWS to decide when it's best to apply the changes. So it causes minor downtime. When we are talking about feature being more mature and further in production, we can make this optional, so for example, use default strategy without the downtime, but provides a environmental variable that will something like apply immediately flag that you can set to true, and then it affected immediately. So right now, this 5-minute production app template is optimized for our speed of development and for ease of testing and finding out bugs and everything. But it can easily be transferred into more, reliable way of doing things.
That's cool. I wasn't sure if Terraform had a way of handling that, like in the Terraform implementation, or if that is, I guess it's probably more of an AWS thing. So.
Yes, you're right. It's managed by AWS. It's not. It's Terraform just provide you with a flag because AWS API has one, right? So they just transfer the possibility to you. Like when you go to AWS console and if you modify an instance, they have this apply immediately flag that you can tick through UI. So the Terraform simply does the same thing.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Well, we are waiting anyway. Let me see if we have anything interesting here. So yes, those are CI jobs for deployment that happened today. And as you see, there's like quite a few of them. And yeah, it worked pretty reliable. So that's a good thing. I also want to highlight that GitLab is moving forward into like having Terraform related features. Like with under operations, we finally have a Terraform sub-navigation that shows you the states that GitLab holds. So when you use 5-minute production app and Terraform does apply, destroy, it always knew between the pipelines what the state is. And this is thanks to the GitLab feature that allows to use GitLab project as a backend for the Terraform state. So then between pipelines, the state is persistent. And now it's visible through GitLab UI too. Okay, it's taken quite some time modifying, like resizing the instances. So I suggest I stop sharing my screen and you can just, if you don't believe me or you want to try it out, just go ahead and use it with your own application. And if you run in any issues, just let me know. Few more things. Now that we have persistent IP and S3 and RDS and EC2 instances, our further plans, we need to make it a bit more production ready and put some engines up front and maybe give some possibility for HTTPS support. And after that, I think we can move forward toward contributing some of this code back to the GitLab as a template. So then when you create a new project and go to the GitLab CI YAML, for example, in UI, when you apply the template, I hope that in some reasonable amount of time, you can type 5-minute production app and see our template, and you press it and you get the corresponding template in your project, so you don't need to actually go to our project and copy paste those lines by yourself. I'm going to stop sharing and pass it further on to where it's on agenda. Thank you.
All right, I think I have the next item on here. I talked with DZ and Sri in the last couple of weeks, and we're talking about the AWS account. And so I did a little research and found that the infrastructure team has a system for spinning up sandboxes if we want to use them. So I tested it out, and the first bug that I ran into was that the S3 bucket names get they don't get reset for 48 hours. So if you try doing this and you run into that problem, that's why. And then Sid, on your question there, So I looked into this, and this all runs through consolidated billing. So the free tier doesn't apply to each sandbox. It's just at like the organization level. So.
Cool. And consider that 48-hour hint is useful. Consider adding that to the page.
Okay. Cool. Michael.
Okay, yeah. I had a sync with Darby on Monday about writing a blog post, and we kind of figured out that we have different storylines to tell. And we said we want to like share our stories on our own. I've linked my draft in the agenda. This is an early draft. I'm trying to build out the messaging about seeing is believing for a CI/CD campaign around it. And I will keep you updated and create an issue for review then.
Cool. Yeah. In general, I think we should have like more blog posts. So like, yes, please don't try to consolidate everything into a single one. Just keep churning out content.
Yeah, one thing we also figured is when we have different stories, we can still merge it into a conversation or something around it. So yeah, definitely agree.
I like this is more of a research project. I wouldn't like say hold up, just keep going. Like we need a drumbeat of news, not one article.
Okay.
And then when we're done at the end of the quarter, then we can look at all the content and make the superb article. But we're going to get there by having a lot of content to pick from and a lot of work. It's I don't know. There's a fable that like a big group of people were split into two groups, and it was like this group is going to try to make as much pottery as possible. This group is going to make pottery that is perfect, that is very well made. And turns out that the group that was assigned to make the most pottery also made the best one because they got lots of practice. The people that wanted to make the perfect one, they just talked the entire time about how to do it, and they didn't get a lot of practice. So let's start writing things, and then at the end of the project we can look to consolidate. But right now, let's keep going and do frequent, unpolished articles.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Yeah, I just looked at the upcoming stuff, and it all looks super nice. Everything is there. The only thing I saw was that with the email thing, there was an SCS question mark. I removed the question mark. I think we should use the simple email service. I don't know an alternative. So if someone knows an alternative, please do speak up or comment on the issue. There's no more items. I want to revisit 1B. I think Dimitri, considering for every end variable, making a table. What is the name of the variable? What does it do? How is it set? Is it set by the user? Is it set by Terraform? And then that can be a link to like how to set variables in CI or where it's set in the Terraform code. What is like, what's the necessity of it? Does it always need to be set? Is it the default, but it can change, or is it optional? And then maybe the default or the example value.
Yeah, I agree. When it was a small amount, it was no need to it, but right now, with more functions growing, definitely will be there. I will do.
And with that, we're at time. Great progress. Thanks, Amici, for the demo. Great work. Thanks, Sri, and see you next week.